Tell me, why is it that when a foundational Black American demands respect for his or her lineage, it equals hatred and division?
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Welcome, my brothers and my sisters. We're here a little bit later than usual, but we are here. You see the intro thing. I'm switching it up, updating it, trying to see how that works out. We are here. I had some things occur today, so we're a little bit behind schedule, but we're in here nevertheless, okay, because it's Black History Month, okay? And as a foundational Black American, I take it upon myself to show up. Whether I show up on time or whether I show up late, it doesn't matter. I will show up, okay? That's my duty to you guys. That's my responsibility to you guys and to the community, is to show up, all right? We might push things back, we might reschedule, but we will be here, all right? We will be here and we will be standing on Lineage business. And as we're standing on Lineage business, if y'all can hit that like button, hit that right button, I'd greatly appreciate that as we get stuff started, all right? We're going to get stuff started right now. As far as our lineage, the fact that everybody is starting to be more conscious of their lineage, be more conscious of the respect that is owed to our lineage, a lot of people are not used to that. A lot of people are used to abusing us, misusing us, exploiting us and our lineage and our culture. Up until recently. Now that stuff is over with. Now that's no more. Now people are trying to label this. There's this campaign to label just mere respect for our lineage, delineation, as far as us distinguishing ourselves differently from everybody else, which has already been done because they've already done it. They're labeling that as hateful, as xenophobic. Why is that? We're going to get into that, okay? They have some videos out here trying to push this hateful propaganda, this xenophobic, it's a hate group propaganda. So we got to get into it. We got to get into it. So this tether, she came up and she has this breakdown of how FBA is this and FBA is that. All right. Here we go. Fair use.
And that history should be told. But here's where the FBA framework takes a sharp.
Since this isn't the only video we're going to be debunking and responding to, I'm going to speed this up just a tad bit.
And dangerous turn. Instead of using this history to expand our understanding of Black origins, the movement uses it to redefine the origin story itself.
There's the thing, Vlad, where people want to make us generic Africans. The term African American is a misnomer. That was a term that got popularized in 1988 by Jesse Jackson, the Congressional Black Caucus, and the Democrats. No, okay. We as a group, we never called ourselves African American. I think the term African American was in a book in the 1700s by a Black preacher. I forgot what the guy's name, but that was the only time we would see that term during slavery. That was a term that we generally didn't use. Really, it didn't get popular until the late 80s. And the term was given to us, and that term was given to us to make us comparable to immigrants. It was to say that we're just like an Italian American. We're just like a Mexican American. So that was to basically almost sanitize our unique history here. And that worked against us. The term African American is a misnomer. Elon Musk is an African American.
Right. You know? South African American.
Yeah, but African American still.
Correct.
There's a lot of people from places like the Sudan and other places who are African Americans. And they have a lot of vitriol towards us here. So the term African American is a misnomer. So we wanted a term that was more indicative of who we were and who we are. And that's where foundational Black American comes from.
Rather than situating these early Africans as part of a long African civilizational continuum with languages, cultures, technologies, and histories that existed long before they ever encountered Europeans, the FBA framework increasingly treats enslavement and resistance on American soil as the starting point of identity. And from that framing, another claim emerges. Many FBA proponents argue that they are the foundational builders of this nation, that Black Americans descended from U.S. slavery are not just central, but exclusive to the Black struggle in America. And
okay, let me show you where the hypocrisy is in that statement alone. Let me show you where the hypocrisy is in that statement. Of course, there were, first off, and this is my belief here based off of the research that I've done for many years, okay? Well before I started YouTube and all of this stuff, but became an activist and all of this stuff, there were black people all around the world, okay? And everywhere you found a person, you found black people, okay? Most of the world at a certain point in time were what you would consider black or Negro or whatever, okay? That we know that, right? Okay. Yes, slavery did come and it did sever ties from past lineages and past cultures and ethnicities, okay? Thus became something new, okay? Thus new names, new traditions. There's still remnants of other things that were there before, but yes, this is now a new identity. The same way the Caribbean has it, all right? Nobody, when somebody says I am a Jamaican American, or I'm a Jamaican, I'm a Haitian, I'm a Trinidadian, I'm a Ghanaian, I'm a anything at all, I'm a Puerto Rican, anything at all from the Caribbean, nobody says, well, why does your culture start at the Caribbean? Why doesn't your culture extend past the Caribbean islands? Why doesn't it go all the way back to Africa? Nobody makes anybody ever from the Caribbean has to trace their ancestry back to Africa or their culture or their lineage or anything of the sort. They can start where their homeland is. Do you understand? They can start with the country, because let's be honest, our ancestors built America. Their ancestors built Haiti, built Jamaica, built all these other places. All right, built Puerto Rico, all these other places. All right, and they claim where their ancestors built, where their ancestors, the land their ancestors cultivated and developed. And there is no, man, y'all, why did y'all act like y'all origin starts right there? Why don't y'all go all the way back? Nobody asked them to skip that land, their homeland, to go back to the other continent. Nobody does that. It's only us that ever get shamed and act as if this is some type of irrational hatred of Africa for us to say, let's stand on the lineage and the country we built. If we built this great country, let's stand on it. Okay, we got problems, we can fix them. We've fixed many problems. We still got more to go, more to fix. But let's stand on what we built. And that's a problem. Okay, now my whole thing is, if it's a problem that all black people don't trace their lineage, all black Americans don't trace our lineage back to Africa and start claiming like, actually, we didn't have an ethnogenesis. We're still some African tribe that we don't know of, maybe. If we're keeping that standard, then everybody in the Caribbean has to keep that standard. Then nobody is a Jamaican, nobody is a Haitian, nobody is a Puerto Rican, and nobody is a Trinidadian or Ghanaian. Everybody is some African tribe, yet they don't keep that standard when it comes to the Caribbean. We're the only people who get told that our homeland, we have to disregard that and go back 500, 600 years ago to another continent. We're the only people who get told that.
Where the danger deepens. Because that argument quietly asks us to forget something critical. It asks us to overlook the fact that many of the most influential figures in Black liberation, culture, and political thought were immigrants or children of immigrants of African descent, some of whom also had ancestors enslaved in the Americas. Marcus Garvey, Harry Belafonte, Kwame Ture, C.L.R. James, Louis Farrakhan, Ivan Van Sertima, Cicely Tyson, Shirley Chisholm, and countless others. Because their lineage does not fit a narrow definition. Are we really going to say that these figures who shaped Black consciousness, civil rights, political representation, Pan-African thought, culture, and global solidarity were somehow outside the Black American struggle? Because history tells a very different story.
Okay, and they use these names all the time. First off, I think you want to double check. She might want to double check on some of the names that she used. She might want to double check on that. But they use those names, right? Here is the thing, though. Here is the thing. You're bringing up people who've joined. They were not pioneers. They were not leaders necessarily. They were figures. And my whole thing is this. I give people all the credit that they deserve. I don't think, because I have a winner mentality, okay? And culturally, we have a winner mentality. The winner mentality, we don't have to strip credit away from somebody, okay? That's what losers have to do. Losers are the people who have to keep stripping people's credit away, trying to steal people's victories and all that stuff. Winners don't do that. Winners don't mind giving you your props, okay? I have a winner mentality, okay? That's our culture. I don't mind giving you your props for what you've done, okay? However, what we're not going to do is we're not going to put what you've done on a pedestal and exacerbate it and make it seem as if it's a little bit more significant than what it really is, all right? That's not me being a hater, but that's me being realistic, okay? You're talking about people who've come in, when you mention the Minister Louis Farrakhan, with all due respect, he didn't start the Nation of Islam. Okay, you can't mention that he was tutored. Okay, let's be honest. Yes, he came, and I'll give him all the respect that he deserved, but he didn't start it. Okay, he came because there was already something here. Okay, all of these other people, Kwame Ture and all of these other people, as much respect as we want to give them, and can't give everybody that respect because you did name some suspect people, but the solid people that you did name, right? As much respect as we want to give them, we're not going to sit up there and act like because they came to this country, therefore their country of origin is similar, because that's what we're saying. The American struggle is different from their struggle. Even though, to be very honest, they came in here, that their struggle is still not the same. They still don't have the lineage debt. They still don't have that struggle. A couple of people might have struggled coming here, but the fact that they're immigrants changes a lot of things, okay? Let's be honest. A lot of them, they didn't come here during the Reconstruction era, okay? Some of them came, you're talking about people who came really during the mid 1900s, and I'm trying to give them as much respect as due to them, but you're talking about people who've come during the mid 1900s versus people who were here before the country was even a country. That's a big difference. All right, don't do that. Don't do that. And I'm not trying to say that only FBAs struggle in this country, or only FBAs go through any type of hardship in this country. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to say our very unique subjugation in this country can be shared by immigrants, because it can't be. All right. And that's not hateful to say that.
Black liberation in America has always been diasporic, always global, always interconnected. From abolition to civil rights, from labor movements to cultural revolutions, Black progress in America was never achieved in isolation. So when
it was never achieved in isolation. For the most part, yes, it was. And don't do that. Yes, it was. Do you understand that we fought ourselves out of slavery? Society tries to teach the civil rights movement in this very whitewashed version, okay, where Black people had a very insignificant factor to play in the civil rights movement, and that is completely ahistorical. The fact of the matter is that America, the Union, would not have won the Civil War had it not been for Black soldiers, okay? Now, prior to that, we were already fighting our way out of slavery before then, but we kind of just capitalized off of the Civil War. But even if you want to say it was completely the Civil War would have not been won if it wasn't for Black soldiers. Even Abraham Lincoln had to admit to that. They all knew that they were going to lose to the Confederacy. So, and it wasn't a bunch of Black immigrants or the whole diaspora in that alone. Okay, everything we've gotten pretty much up to this point, like I said before, you can only name people who came pretty much in the 1950s or so. You can't name people who've been here fighting and struggling alongside us in no real large numbers, not to take any credit away, but in no real substantial numbers until after the 1950s. In the mid 1900s, you can't do that. So to make it seem like our victories aren't our only victory, or need to be shared, the credit needs to be shared to everybody, that's very disingenuous. And y'all only do that with us. Nobody tries to say, well, the Haitian Revolution, I mean, we can give the Haitians 80% of the credit, but we also got to give us a good 15, and then you got to give them a good 5. You don't do that to them. Y'all let them get 100% of the credit. All right. It's only when it comes to us that y'all, and notice you didn't say anything, that y'all get to come and then we got to share this credit. No. Okay. Y'all came because, to be totally honest with you, we had more motion in this country than y'all did. The few individuals who came and were help and were riders, and shout out to them, they came because there was more motion going on because of our struggles, because of our victories alone, which is why people started coming and aiding in the first place. Okay. So let's be very honest about history.
Begins to mean exclusive when recognition turns into boundary policing, when justice becomes a zero-sum identity contest. We're no longer talking about history. We're talking about fragmentation. And fragmentation has never led to freedom. So now let's rewind the clock. Not to 1619, not to 1526, but thousands of years earlier. Because here's the fundamental problem with any framework that treats slavery as the beginning of Black history. It accepts, whether intentionally or not, the same logic that enslavers used. The logic that said, you had no history before we encountered you. You had no civilization before we claimed you. You became a people only after we broke you. That is not just historically false, it is psychologically damaging. Before a single African was forced onto a ship, Africa was not a blank space on the map. It was one of the most advanced and interconnected regions on Earth. Africa had complex systems of governance, global trade networks, universities and centers of learning, architecture, astronomy, medicine, written and oral knowledge traditions passed down for centuries. Empires rose and fell. Kings ruled. Cities flourished. And not in isolation. Africa traded with Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, long before colonialism, yes. Gold from West Africa powered European economies. Scholars from across the world traveled to African centers of learning. African states negotiated, fought wars, signed treaties, and shaped global history. This matters because people do not emerge from nowhere. The Africans who were taken to the Americas did not arrive as blank slates. They arrived with languages, spiritual systems, agricultural knowledge, metalworking skills, political memory. Slavery did not create Black people. It disrupted them. And when Black history is framed as beginning with enslavement, something dangerous happens. Africa becomes mythology instead of history.
Okay. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Ma'am, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You guys have never seen me try to denigrate all African people. You've never seen me try to do that. You've never seen me try to make it seem as if Africa was some primitive land, or even is. You've never seen me do that, okay? And nobody is making that argument for real. What the argument is, and it's very important that we know this, what the argument is that what we're saying is our unique ethnicity does begin in America, okay? It does. We've had an ethnogenesis in America. We are a unique people who've been divorced and stripped from what was before. The same exact way everybody in the Caribbean is, okay? Nobody in the Caribbean is going to say, well, actually, I don't want to talk about my Caribbean history. I want to talk about my history before I was even on this land. Nobody does that, okay? Nobody does that in the world. Only when it comes to us do we have to go back before the nation we built. No, everybody in the world starts, their ethnicity, their culture, their nationality, their national pride starts at the nation they built or the nation their ancestors are from. Everybody starts that way. It's only when it comes to us does the nation that our ancestors built, we can't start there. We have to go back to some ancient civilization that does not any longer exist and be this very nationless people who can claim some land in Africa. You can't claim a tribe. You can't really claim a nation, but you just claim some type of bloodline in Africa, some distant ancient bloodline in Africa. And you don't do that with nobody else. And this is what we're saying. No, we're not going back that far for us to be this nationless people. Okay. Because that's how we've been abused. We've been abused because we have not been claiming what has been ours. And now we're claiming what is ours. And we're starting with the nation our people built. All of that, oh, you guys are thinking that, no. Because, and I don't like that narrative, is because you are trying to make this seem as if we're delineating out of some type of hatred or disdain for Africa. No. Delineation is not out of no hatred for Africa, no disdain for Africa, no disdain for anybody. Delineation is just because that is the truth. And that's the truth that we're accepting now. We're accepting the fact that, yes, we are different. Yes, our heritage is different. Yes, our lineage is different. Yes, our culture is different. We're accepting and resonating in our difference, and we're loving that. Okay? That don't mean we hate you. You only think that because that really, us specifying that we're not the same really triggers your insecurity. Because I'm not out here talking about nobody else. I'm not out here making fun of nobody else, saying nobody is primitive or what. I'm not out here doing none of that. Okay. I'm just saying that no, our culture is different from your culture. Okay. Our history, our heritage, our everything, it is different. You all are the ones who are sitting up there being all like, oh, calling out a difference is hateful. That's because you all have insecurities you have to deal with. Okay. On top of the fact that you don't want us to recognize the difference, because then the exploitation is going to cease. All right. That's why. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Because she goes on for a little bit. She goes on for a good minute, right? She goes on for a good minute. I'm going to fast forward.
Borders and global Black power dissolves. Which leads us to the next critical issue. If this rhetoric continues to grow unchecked, what are the long-term dangers?
I know Byron, and I've always gotten along with him. He's super cheerful. I didn't realize, is he ideological? I've never detected that.
No. That's why I call him a slave.
Yeah. And they called you a racist for that?
They did. Which is actually quite interesting because I got a call from the Foundational Black American Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's a fair perspective, right? I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. That's actually cultural appropriation. Appropriating the struggle of slavery.
I totally agree.
And the struggle of slavery was real. I don't think Republicans ever want to really whitewash that. It's real, no. Right? But for
we're
Byron,
against slavery.
We're against it.
If anyone thinks this rhetoric is harmless or purely internal, this is where we need to pause. Because one of the clearest indicators that a movement has gone off course is who starts clapping from the outside. Recently, conservative media figure Tucker Carlson publicly gave the foundational Black American rhetoric a thumbs up. And that alone should make us stop and think. Because Carlson is not applauding this movement out of concern for Black liberation. He's not endorsing it because he suddenly cares about reparations. And he's not uplifting it because he wants justice for descendants of slavery. He's responding to something far more useful to him and the likes of him. Division. When Black people argue over who is foundational and who is not. When African Americans are pitted against African immigrants. When Caribbean lineage is framed as competition rather than connection. That serves a very specific political purpose. It weakens coalition building.
All right. They bringing up the whole, first off, and we already made a live stream about that the whole foundational Black American thing, the whole foundational Black American society. That doesn't exist. There is no real legitimate foundational Black American society that would call him anyway. Ain't nobody be like, hey, James Fishback, do you remember Byron? No. Now, what I find very interesting about that is that they're talking about somebody, though. They're talking about Byron Donalds. Remember, Byron Donalds is the one who said that, hey, he doesn't want us to get reparations. Now, what's interesting about this is when it comes to Tucker Carlson, it's like, oh my God, Tucker Carlson, he's agreeing with you guys. That means you guys are wrong. That means you guys are wrong. You guys shouldn't be doing this. Tucker Carlson, if MAGA agrees against Black liberation, then that means that you guys are on the wrong side of history. But the thing is that he's doing this in response to somebody who also doesn't approve of Black liberation. Notice that the argument of Black liberation and Black Americans or foundational Black Americans being divisive is against Black liberation. That only gets told to us. We have a whole collage. You can have tether after tether after tether after tether, like Byron Donalds for a prime example. Notice she calls out us because Tucker Carlson agrees. Brian Donalds is all up in the Trump administration, but she doesn't want to call out Brian Donalds, though. Why is that? If you're going to call out us for Tucker agreeing with what we say, then you also have to call out Byron Donalds for all of the MAGA that agrees with what he says. You got to call out all of the super MAGA tethers. And let's be honest, a whole bunch of the super, I'm MAGA, I don't see race. A lot of them are tethers. You got to call all of them out, but you don't call out the tethers. Now, when MAGA agrees with tethers, you don't say anything. Okay. But when they just recognize our argument, then it's, oh, stop the brakes. Stop the brakes. You guys are going left. You guys are going too far. Look at this. Look at this. If you want to call something out, call this out.
Ancestors come from the Caribbean, and there were slaves in the Caribbean, and we
didn't qualify for the American reparations.
Well, here's the challenge. There are so many difficulties with trying to enact reparations, in part because the question is who gets them. Potentially, I could fall into that category. I honestly have called a pipe dream in the past, and I think that's what it is.
Well, it would be nice if there was an elegant, simple solution to all sorts of complicated problems. You're not actually talking about how to fix those problems if you're only talking about reparations. If we're only debating how we're going to parcel out responsibility for something that happened more than a century ago. And we're probably never going to do this. It's not clear to me why we're pursuing this thing.
Is it fair that there's no reparations, no restitution, nothing?
Should the Irish get reparations, by the way? Irish need not apply signs when they came here during the Progressive era. Sure. I mean, how far do we want to take this down? Are we acknowledging that there are ugly spots in history? Because 60% of the world would be entitled to slave reparations if you wanted to play that game.
Well, here's a fact. Slavery ended 154 years ago. It's been a long, long time since we had slavery in this country. And you have people like my family. I'm Black, but my family came to the United States in 1962. My parents are from Costa Rica. Do I get a check?
I did a couple of essay contests that I actually won. And I won like NAACP AXO award for this essay and something else. I can't remember another, like I ended up winning money. And the essay was, do you think Black people should get reparations? And I was like, no, you didn't work for it.
Why are you so against reparations?
Valerie, it's a matter of a waste of time. We've got so much to do. And yet you have people who invest so much energy and attention on what I consider to be a dead-end idea, a dead-end movement.
If we were to pay reparations today, we would only divide the country further. We would insult many Black Americans by putting a price on the suffering of their...
A couple things is, all right, how many people in the United States today are actually descendants of slave owners? Forget descendants of slaves. Let's hold that to the side. Descendants of slave owners. You've had massive immigration into the United States over the last 150 years. So now you're going to say that people who immigrated to the United States who are not descendants of slave owners, were not descendants of that trade, now they're going to be responsible for paying that out going forward. My mother's Jamaican. My father's Panamanian. You have a lot of Black people in this country who are not descendants of the American slave trade. So I already know off top, there's a lot of Black people in America who aren't going to be able to get that kind of benefit.
You see that? You see that? Notice the people who are talking about Pan-Africanism in unity, and we can't do anything unless everybody is together and unless everybody's on one page and one accord. I'm going to tell you right now, that's something that we would have loved and we have pushed for, and we have strived for this big global unity of everybody in the world, and that has not panned out. That has not turned out to be the reality. It doesn't matter how much we want it to be. It doesn't matter how much we tried. It doesn't matter how many opportunities we've given to everybody. We've allowed everybody to come in. We've given everybody enough opportunities. We've given everybody enough chances, and they've said no. Okay, they have come over here collectively and they said, I'm on my own thing. I'm not here for that. I'm here because I'm trying to do better for myself. All of this fighting and all that stuff, I left because I don't want to do that. All of this nation building, I left because I don't want to do that. Okay, miss me with that stuff. And that has been fine to them. They have not complained that all of them coming over here talking about Pan-Africanism, they have denied that. Nobody's going to get on anybody else for rejecting Pan-Africanism. Nobody's going to get on anybody else for rejecting or upholding, rather, their tribalistic behavior and their practices and their ideology. That has been okay. That has been fine. It's been fine. It's only when it comes to us. Only when it comes to us that, oh my God, now, hold on. Do you guys understand that divides Black unity? That stops Black unity, and Black people, we can't succeed if that, no. No, you're not going to sit up there and play us like that. No, okay? Because when Byron Donald said that, y'all didn't sit up there and call him, and we can go... There's so many, and that's just for reparations. That clip, that whole collage, that long collage, that's just for reparations alone. That's not including all of the other things. And first off, that clip can be a whole hour long if we really want to go there. But that we're not even talking about all of the other negative things that they say, all of the y'all should have listened to the police stuff they say, all of the terrorism that they do when it comes to politics. No, and then you want to get on us and talk about some unity and to make it seem as if we're abandoning the mission, as if we're abandoning ship. They make it seem as if we were all kumbaya until we switched up. Don't make it seem like we switched up. Y'all Pan-Africanists are hypocritical, okay? Which is why nobody takes y'all serious, which is why nobody listens to y'all. And that's good. Nobody should listen to you all. Okay, because y'all hypocrisy and y'all double standards are hurting the movement and hurting the community. So it's a good thing that nobody's taking y'all serious. It is. Let's get back to it though. I fast forwarded a little bit so we can get to the other part.
Now, before anyone walks away thinking that this is a one-sided conversation, we need to tell the full truth, okay? Because this critique of the FBA movement is not coming only from Africans or Caribbean people. A growing number of African Americans themselves, celebrities, scholars, activists, and everyday people have been openly pushing back against this framework. And that matters. Let's take a look at this clip of D.L. Hughley pushing back against the idea.
We didn't call ourselves Black, they did. We didn't tell ourselves. They told us who we were. They told us remember at one point in America, one drop of Black blood made you Black. And now the very people that made us Black are telling us what Black is.
Right.
So I can understand the argument. I don't buy into it. I don't agree with it. Because I think, if you look at the diaspora, they went all over. Every place that didn't have black people indigenously came from the slave trade. So we all had the same fight. I remember I used to go to Jamaica years ago, and they had Africa, Jamaica, and America on a T-shirt that said "One Blood." And I think that this fragmentation, although I understand the passion behind the argument, I think that we are one collective, and I think dividing us, it's like having a no peeing section in the pool. It's the I don't get,
you gonna get pee on you.
I don't get how. I don't get how it works.
Now take a look at this clip of Michael J. White.
Okay, then first off, D.L. Hughley, nobody takes what he has to say serious. He's a Democrat shill, okay? He's a Democrat shill, so of course he's not going to want us to specify who we are, okay? Because that hurts the whole movement the Democrats and the DNC has going on. So you can't take that serious.
Reacting to the FBA movement when he learned about it, because I thought his response hit the nail on the head.
You know, people like Tariq Nasheed, which is one of the loud voices in this, in this movement, they create very much of a divide between American black people and black people of foreign descent.
Okay.
So they call them tethers even. That's one of the terms they use about like Jamaican Americans or, Africans who live in this country and so forth.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of this. What's your take when it comes to this? And there's always been this kind of interesting, divide between black Americans and Africans who live here and so forth. Black immigrants, essentially.
Before we get started, first off, notice that I can't help but notice that all of your clips are coming from Vlad. All of your clips are coming from Vlad. Vlad is an agent. Okay, I've said that for years. I've never liked Vlad. I've never liked Vlad. Vlad is an agent. He should not at all be trusted to take anything he says should not be taken serious. Notice how he's trying to skew. Okay, he doesn't even have enough integrity to just ask, hey, have you heard about this? Have you heard about, it's not even the FBA movement. FBA is the lineage, but have you heard about this movement to delineate? Have you heard about this? What is your take on this? Vlad gave a very disingenuous view and interpretation of delineation. And then he said, well, I mean, I don't really like this, but what do you think? Okay. That's Vlad has already shown his bias, and he's trying to ask this question in a skewed way so he can get a particular answer out of Michael J. White. He's trying to get an answer. That's why he formed it in that way. All right. But let's listen to what he has to say.
I heard about this. I think I heard about this like 20 seconds ago. So I don't know anything about it. I can't really.
Okay. And this is the thing. If Michael doesn't know anything about it, you can't really give an honest critique or anything like that. He can't even really give his opinion. If this is his first introduction, the way Vlad told him, of course, he's going to say, well, okay, well, that doesn't sound very positive. That sounds kind of negative. If you're saying that Tariq is creating division, which he contradicted himself with. He said Tariq is creating division, but there already was division. So Tariq's not creating it if there already was division. Okay. But if this is his introduction, and this is just letting us know, honestly, how bad faith this is. Because you're ambushing somebody in an interview recorded, and they don't know, so he can't fact check you in the moment. If he doesn't know anything about it, he's gonna say, I mean, I guess that sounds bad. I don't know. I don't know. What did you expect him to say? So you really set him up, and this is what Vlad does. But the tethers just ate that up. They just ate it up.
Comment on that. I haven't spoken to Tariq in a minute. I wish I had. I owe him a call. We haven't talked in a while. But he's somebody who's been, welcome at the house, been at the house several times. I've been in his house, but it sounds like we are long overdue. But I don't like anything that's in a division type of thing to be, first and foremost. I think there's been long enough division. I think we should all unite.
Yeah, D.L. Hughley, when I brought this up, he said that it's about as effective as peeing in a pool and trying to keep it separate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could say it's separate, but we're all affected by the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the other term is ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. That's another term that's been used. Listen, I'm an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just I just want you to know, he already said, "Hey man, I'm gonna call Tariq. I'm gonna talk to him." Michael knows, this is not Michael's first rodeo. He already knows a setup interview or a setup question. So he tried to say this initially, so their way it doesn't get clipped up and be all like, Michael J. White just dissed Tariq. Oh, Michael J. White just dissed Tariq, which is what Vlad would have done. If he would have said something negative about Tariq, Vlad would have clipped that part off. He would have put that on YouTube. It would have went viral. Then it would have been this big thing. So he's like, oh no, me and Tariq, we cool. I'm gonna call him. It's been a little minute, but I don't really know about it. But I don't agree with division. Very simple, okay. And to be totally honest, his response, given the fact that he didn't know about it, his response wasn't really that bad. Okay, he had a very respectful PR response to the setup question. And then you see Vlad kept pushing and kept. Then there's the ADOS movement, and he's like, "Dude, I don't know about none of that. What are you doing? Oh, and then because I'm an immigrant, he's pushing because he's trying to get a certain answer. He's trying to get a certain reaction. All right, and you see how much they have to push and pry to get some type of snippet, some type of response that they can be like, ha, you see, he called you guys divisive. Ha, you see, he called you guys hateful. He's pushing and prying for that. All right. He's pushing for that.
I've always been pro-immigrant. I feel like, I've talked about this with various people, like DL. It's like, if the cops pull you over, do they know the difference between, are you a foundational Black American or a Jamaican? Like, are you going to be treated differently one way or another? Are you going to be treated better if they realize it or not? Or is everyone pretty much in the same boat?
People spend a lot of energy on shit that, to me, is inconsequential. Maybe it's wrong of me to just kind of paint it with that brush, but it sounds ridiculous. On the surface, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like putting a lot of energy into things that I don't think are very progressive. I don't know, but
I'm sorry, I don't see that as progressive either.
To actually put energy into designating something like, I'm like, okay, what's your end game?
Well, I mean, listen, Tariq, that's his platform. And it's his platform, and I respect it. He's a very intelligent guy. He's done well for himself. But for example, his latest project, the entire focus of it is to prove that hip hop was
like, do you literally see how much Vlad is prying? This dude is damn near snitching on Tariq to Michael J. White. Now, here's something. If you're a journalist and you're doing an interview with somebody and someone is telling you, well, I don't really know about the subject at all, I don't know, then you should just move on. Michael J. White is not, and I'm not saying he's not conscious, but Michael J. White's not an activist. Michael J. White is not a politician. Michael J. White is not, that's not what he does. So you're sitting up there asking him all of these questions and he's telling you, hey, I don't really know about it. And you're prying and prying. Oh, and Tariq did this. And Tariq, and Tariq's whole thing, and Tariq did this. And then he's doing this. And then he's doing this. I'm like, okay, all right. What he was trying, he was desperately trying to push to get Michael to say something that this is Tariq. Now he's talking about the whole microphone check movie. Oh, and that's division. And Tariq's doing this whole thing. And Tariq, like, okay, that's like you crying to daddy or something like that.
Only started by foundational Black Americans. Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, they were around, but they were not part of hip hop when it started. They came around later and had only minor contributions. That's his thing. I don't particularly agree with this.
Okay.
But he did a whole movie about it.
Oh, okay. Well, my question would be, and again, I don't know, but my first question would be, okay, say you prove that. And
right.
What's your end game? What's the end? Okay, you proved that. There's a lot of times people will prove that there's institutional racism in the system.
Yeah.
Did we not know that already? Like, so it's like, brother, 1 + 1 is 2. If you take 2 and you take 1 from that 2, then you got 1. I can say that in several ways, and yeah, he's speaking the truth.
Right.
Who gives a fuck? What does it matter? I don't know. So a lot of those things where I go, okay, this person is trying to prove this. I go, okay. And when you've proven that, what's the result? What's the result? Is there a utopia at the end of that? I don't know.
What Michael Jai White did here, whether intentionally or not, was expose the core weakness of this entire framework. He asked the one question that matters. What's the end game? He said, I don't like anything that's about division. If the cops pull you over, do they know or care whether you're FBA or Jamaican or African?
First off,
are we not all in the same boat?
First off, and let me get to what Michael said. Let me get to what Michael said. Okay, first off, Michael didn't say the whole police thing. That was Vlad who said that. Vlad is the one who said that, oh, the police don't care about that was Vlad. That was not Michael. Don't put words in his mouth now. Okay. And y'all pushed and pushed and pushed to get some type of response, which shows how desperate you are. But to what Michael said, the whole doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. Telling accurate history of somebody's accomplishments, of a lineage and of a culture, it does matter. Because if that's the case, then what is the end goal of anything? Like, if we're looking at every single bit of information, like, let's not look at what we're doing from this very scrutinized lens of, well, I don't see the point. I don't see why. Okay, well, if that's the case, why do we do anything? Okay. What was the point? What is the point of any documentary? Let's be honest. If you're going to look at this documentary with this very rare scrutinizing lens and say, I don't see the point of a documentary about hip hop. I mean, we already know that. Okay, well, what's the point of a documentary about slavery? What's the point of a documentary about some type of hurricane or weather? Or what's the point of a documentary about American history? What's the point of a documentary about science? What's the point? What's the point of anything if we're looking at it that way? And you see how nobody looks at it that way. It's only when it comes to the movement and our history as foundational Black Americans do people be all like, well, what's the end game? What's the point? Well, damn, what's the point of anything? Don't do that. No, come on now. Now I get he was on the spot. I get he really didn't know exactly. I mean, if he didn't even know about FBA, he damn sure doesn't know about microphone checks, so he probably doesn't know about that stuff, right? He said he needed to talk to Tariq, which he did later on, okay, after that interview, okay? But yeah, okay, yeah, he didn't know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, no, don't. What's the point? Don't do that, because you're not going to do that when it comes to anybody else. If anybody else made a documentary about their history, you wouldn't be all like, what's the point? What's the point of a museum? You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, that's I don't like that, because y'all wouldn't do that with nobody else. You wouldn't do that to the small hat community. If Ben Shapiro or Benjamin Netanyahu, if they made a documentary about anything, you wouldn't be. Oh, I don't know the point about it. You wouldn't be doing that. Don't do that. Come on, I don't like that. That's just, come on down. Don't do that. Nah. But I mean, y'all really thought he dissed FBA, and that's not really what he did. To be honest with you, we're going to play some more of this, though.
And that question cuts straight through the noise. Because systems of power do not differentiate Black people by lineage. They do not pause to ask about ancestry. They do not adjust harm based on identity labels. And this is where the rhetoric collapses under real world pressure. So yes, the question for FBAs is, what is the end game? What are you trying to accomplish here? How does this designation make life better for you and your children? Because that part of the equation is completely missing or unclear.
No. And we're going to stop there. The whole, what is the point? What is the end game? The end game is doing what y'all doing. How about that? Anytime they say, well, what is the point? What is the point of this delineation? What is the point of this? The point is to be on y'all page. How about that? The point is to be on y'all page, because y'all do it too. You wouldn't go anywhere else in Africa and say, what is the point of specifying the difference between this tribe and this tribe? It doesn't matter. Okay. I can't tell if you're Igbo or if you're Yoruba. There's no difference. It doesn't matter. What's the point of that? You wouldn't go to Africa and do that. You wouldn't go to Africa and say there's no difference between a Ghanaian and a Kenyan, okay? A Nigerian and a South African. You wouldn't go to Africa and do that. You wouldn't go to the Caribbean and be all like, Jamaican, Haitian, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't do that to them. Only when it comes to us does it be all like, oh, well, hold on, it doesn't matter because the police see you guys the same. So, and they're the authority of everything. So it doesn't really matter. You only do that when it comes to us. The whole, what is the end goal? What is the point? Y'all got your flags in your bios. Y'all got your flags on your walls in your house and everything like that. Y'all proud about your ethnicity and y'all proud about your tribe so much so you fight other tribes. Yet when it comes to us making the same type of stance and ethnic pride that you guys have that nobody shames you for, now it's what's the point? What's the point? Now the point is to be with y'all. If everybody got this our own ethnic pride, then we're going to be on the same page. Okay? If there's no point for us to do it, there's no point for y'all to do it. So we're about to be all equally pointless. All equally aimless. We don't got to tell you what we got going on. Well, no. Our point is to be like y'all. Y'all don't. Why are y'all adding this division? Because we catching up. How about that? We're catching up. We've realized that we are not nearly as divisive as everybody else, so we're starting to catch up. That's what we're doing. Okay, we playing catch up. Y'all not used to it. That's what we doing. Everybody else has been divisive. We starting to realize that we need to join the crew. So everybody can be equally divisive. Okay. It's about equality. Okay. So we just trying to get as equally divisive as you are here in America and as you guys are in Africa. That's it. So everybody can be equally as tribal. Because we ain't really used to the tribalism thing. We just trying it out. You know what I'm saying? We just trying out this tribalism, So, I mean, y'all been on that. Y'all got a lot of experience with it. We getting our feet wet and all that stuff. We just learning the ropes of tribalism. So that's what we doing. We just trying to get you on y'all page. How about that? Yeah. You say, when is it going to end? Well, it's going to end. Why? You not asking y'all tribes when y'all tribalism is going to end. They don't do that. You don't ask Africa when tribalism is going to end. Y'all don't ask anybody else when their tribalism is going to end. Why does our tribalism need an expiration date? That's what I want to know. Oh, well, no. I mean, if tribalism is going to end, then let's let it be over for everybody. But don't put an expiration date on my tribalism. I just got started. I'm just getting in the room. I still got my coat on. I got to hang my coat up, get comfortable. I just got here. Don't ask me when I'm leaving. No, I just got here. Y'all been here. If anybody needs to stop, y'all need to stop. Come on. No. We just doing the same thing everybody else is doing. Okay, don't look at me. He started it. Go look at him. Go talk to Nigeria because they known for that. Go to them. No. We just started. Y'all so anti-tribal and y'all so pan-African, but y'all want to get on the people who just walked in the room. That's the hypocrisy. Don't be doing that. No, we just got here. Okay, we just getting started. When is it gonna end? When are we gonna leave? When everybody leave? How about that? We gonna leave when the party over. Okay, that's us walking in late and then us being asked to leave first. No, when the party over and the lights get turned on and everybody start leaving, then I guess we'll all leave together. But until then, I'm not leaving before nobody else leave. I ain't even got my plate. The nachos getting cold. You got to move out the way. All right, come on now. Don't be doing that. Nope, nah. You move out the way now. All of that. When is it gonna end? When is it gonna end? When it ends for everybody. Don't ask me first. We just got here. We just started. Okay. Asking me to leave early. What? No. I ain't leaving early. But look, there's some more hating going on. Hold on. Let me pull up this next video because you got I don't know if he still raps or not. I don't know what's going on with Buddy. But Vic Mensa, he was on this podcast and we're going to talk about it. his podcast, and of course they was talking about ICE and all of that. And then he said, okay, they bought FBA up, so we're gonna listen to that. But before we do, let me get to the super chats real quick. Actually, before we do, let me get to that. Assistant to the HNIC, he said lineage-based claims threaten borrowed legitimacy. That's true. Okay. He said lineage-based claims threaten borrowed, quote, lineage-based claims that borrowed legitimacy. When lineage is verified, those relying on flattened categories loses standing. That's true. Okay, they did not earn. That's true. When people got to start qualifying, and when lineage is a factor, which was why they don't want it to be a factor, then people gets their exiting papers. Okay, people get told to leave the conversation. People get told to leave the room. This is why what we're doing is so productive, because only qualified people are able to speak on the situation with any authority. Because before, we've had years of Myron Gaines and of Candace Owens and of Brian Donalds and of all of these other tethers. I showed y'all a video. We've had years of them coming up there, be all like, I don't think we deserve reparations. I think it's a pipe dream. I think it's pointless. I think we should move on. I think slavery was a long time ago. They don't even qualify. And we've had people speaking and trying to dismiss reparations that they don't qualify for. Now that we have barriers up and standards up, now you got to qualify before you can say yay or nay. Yeah, we checking paperwork at the door. You got to qualify before you get to speak with any type of authority. So they don't like that. They don't like the fact that we're making lineage the qualification standard to even weigh an opinion. They don't like that. Sexy Red. Oh, Sexy Red. Sexy Red sends a super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. My brother Hurricane, he says, that's why we're for delineation and deportation. Yep, we got to get them up out of here. They ain't helping. Cassius says, Tether's practicing lying is witchcraft to put us on a treadmill to nowhere. I like that. I like the way you worded that. The Bible calls it wearing out the saints. Time for phase 2 of delineation. Hey, we moving and we got to get stuff. We getting stuff done. Hurricane again says, insulting our intelligence never ends well. It doesn't. It really doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay. Thank you very much, Hurricane. And then Cassius says a good question. Most of the FBAs in here know the name Africa. It's the name of so-called YT man. This is well established. We are not related to black Hamites. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me get to this next clip. We in here on the late night, but I appreciate you guys hitting that like button still. Okay. We still need those likes. Just because we're not here on time, we had things I had to do. But just because we're not here on time don't mean we can't get these likes up. Okay. Let's everybody hit these likes button. Hit these likes buttons. Hit the like buttons. Okay. I'm all over the place right now. These tethers got me messed up. I'm losing brain cells. But let's go.
For real, man. It's so many, and that's one thing I will say too, man, is like what I really appreciate about what y'all been doing, man, is the presence that you're building on the continent, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's so necessary, and people need to see it from you too. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I have a voice in my own lane, but as an African that's like mixed race, and you know what I mean, I've got ways for people to
discredit the situation,
discredit my opinion as it pertains to Black American people. I mean, especially in the age of FBA. You know what I'm saying?
But can we talk about that? Ian, I know my bad, Ian. Can we talk about that though?
No, go ahead. Yes. And see, this is why I played the first clip first. I played the first clip first. Yes, your opinion is going to be disqualified, and they don't like that. They don't like the fact that y'all are not able to come in and speak on other people's community with any sort of authority. Y'all don't try to do that with nobody else. Okay, y'all don't go. Vic Mensa is not going to go to the Hispanic community and act as if he's some type of authority to speak on their issues or their claims or what they should or shouldn't be doing. He wouldn't go to the Asians and act as if he's some type of authority who needs to be listened to and has any right to speak on what they should or should not be doing. Okay, so no, you're not gonna come to us and act as if you, first off, you're not even all the way. I think his dad is Ghanaian, or something like that. His mom is Caucasian. You wouldn't go to either one of those. We couldn't go to either one of those communities and act as if we have any authority to speak. Okay, no. So no, you're mad about that. Because, yeah, especially during a time of FBA. Yep, damn right. Damn right. Yep. Especially during, it's not stopping. Especially during this time. Damn right. Yeah. You lost all your authority to speak. No, you ain't get to know.
I'm glad you brought that up because Vic, if you don't know his background, his father is from Ghana and his mother,
okay,
his mother is from America, right?
Ghana. Yeah, she's white American.
So, all right, this is a very sensitive topic right now.
FBA.
Tariq Nasheed, don't do it. Tariq, I love you. Hidden Colors 1 through 20.
I think
I fuck with you, but don't do. Hey,
they got like hundreds of thousands of niggas on goddamn computers, bro.
But they got the first AI bots, boy. FBA, don't do it. Love you.
How is that for you? How is that for you?
I think it's really funny. I kind of have a good time with it. You know what I'm saying? The division between Black American people and Black African people is manufactured as an agent of the state. The division between Black
Say that again, please. Thank you.
The division between Black American people and Black African people is manufactured. It is an agent of the state. It's used to keep us divided so that we don't unify Black Americans with the most culturally with the most impactful culture on the planet with Black Africans that are the fastest growing population with the most resources. They don't want Black American people, the most culturally impactful group on planet Earth, to link up with the most resource-rich continent, which, as you guys obviously know, is the only place where the birth rates are on the rise and will be the majority of the human beings. And if you look at places like China, you know what I mean? Like when the population increases and certain moves are made, I mean, to economically benefit from that, I mean, the possibilities are, we just watched, the possibilities are so fucking massive. And what the powers that be really don't want is that Black American people who have been able to, just in this past 100 years, man, like dramatically change the landscape of culture globally. You know, they don't.
Let's pause that. The whole, it's been manufactured. That strips away, which is why I don't like that. Okay. Because it strips away the accountability African people need. It strips away any blame that they deserve. Okay. It makes it seem as if they're not doing anything. There's no reason for us to be upset. No, it's manufactured. So them coming over here doing what I just said, Brian Donalds and all of them pushing their own agendas, blocking our reparations, that's manufactured. What they try to do, because he can't deny that there's an issue, so he tries to make it seem like it's a 50-50 thing. Well, you know, it's not really y'all's. No. How I know it's not manufactured, because that's y'all get down in Africa. Okay? We're not going to sit here and act as if this quote unquote division is only existing in America. We're not going to do that. This is how y'all get. Okay.
Belongs to South African.
Look, this is how y'all be in Africa, y'all. This is how they act in Africa.
Belongs to South African. I hate foreigner. I hate Krikamba. I hate Kwara. I hate Zai. I don't like foreigner. Foreigner must go to their country. I hate foreigners. I am xenophobic. I hate, again, I hate times and times. I don't know how many times. I hate foreigners. I am xenophobic. I don't like foreigner because foreigners, I don't have a child because of foreigner. Ramaphosa, take these foreigners to their country right now.
Yeah, this is the manufactured stuff. No, this is the get down. And while you keep trying to blame it on the government and not actually acknowledge the flaws that have been developed in the culture of tribalism, because they like to blame it on the government and not blame it on their own tribalistic practices that none of them want to change. That's the name of the game. None of them want to actually change tribalism. They want us to ignore it. And we're not going to ignore it. They don't want to change it, then it's here to stay then. But us as foundational Black Americans ignoring y'all tribalism is over with. We know too much now. The cat's out the bag now. We can't go back to acting as if everybody's kumbaya, like Wakanda, like Africa's this big Wakanda, and everybody's getting along and everybody loves each other. No. And this type of I hate foreigner, I hate foreigner. You think when she comes to America, what do you think she's gonna be acting like? You think that this stuff only stays in Africa? Do you? You think that this type of behavior, this type of hatred of people who are not your ethnicity or whatever the case is, do you think that this stays in Africa? You don't think that they bring that and bring these problematic behaviors and traditions to America? See, y'all can, what defeats y'all point is the fact that we know the get down everywhere else. Y'all trying to make it seem like we've been manipulated. No, we're not manipulated. Because Vic, you're not going to say this about other Africans who are not accepting and welcoming of other Africans. You're not going to say this about Ghana. Speaking of Ghana, actually, where his people is from, ask Ghana, since he's all about unity and all about this and all about this and this and this, why is Ghana, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? Now, Vic is from Ghana. Tell me, Vic, if you talking about unity and all of that stuff and all this Pan-African and stuff, why are your people protesting against Nigerians immigrating in their country? This is where Vic mentions from, while he's in America trying to tell us what we need to be doing. Okay. His own people are not about that Pan-African stuff, are not about having Nigerians immigrate here. Now, when we say that, we're divisive. Okay. When we say that, we just don't know our history, or we hate Africa, or whatever. We're a hate group, cult, whatever they want to call us, some MAGA organization, whatever they want to call us. Vic, those are your folk. You should be preaching the virtues of Pan-Africanism to your own people, don't you think? No, your own people are sick and tired of all of this tetherism that's going on. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes tethers in their community. Nobody. That woman, the first woman I played for you all, she's from South Africa. I believe I'm almost 100% sure she's from South Africa, but let's say she's from South Africa because there were protests in South Africa, right? Nobody's saying that they're divisive. Nobody's saying that they're against Pan-Africanism. Nobody's saying, oh my God, what would Nelson Mandela do? Nobody is saying that. Nobody is judging them for being against problematic immigrants. When it comes to Ghana, people don't judge them for being against problematic immigrants. But only when it comes to us do people judge us for being against problematic immigrants for the sake of our own community. Okay, this woman right here is also from Ghana. Okay, Vic, you need to get your people. Vic, come on, Vic.
And that it sounds like I am generalizing right now, and I'm really not. Unfortunately, the bad apples is Nigerians. Let's talk. I think you guys collectively need to come together and realize that you are the common denominator. As in, all these countries that are coming together to ban you, to get rid of you, to not want you in their country, we are not all going mad. You guys need to finally accept that you are the toxic that we are all trying to get away from. And I understand that it sounds like I am generalizing right now. And I'm really not. Unfortunately, the bad apples are doing too much that we cannot see the good apples anymore. We cannot see the good ones anymore because the bad ones are just so many. And so now it is either the good ones are holding the bad ones accountable for completely ruining your integrity and your name, or you guys just stay in your countries. Bear in mind that we have all traveled to find greener pastures elsewhere. I am Ghanaian, but I'm not in Ghana right now. But guess what I do? I obey the rules, the laws, and the regulations in the land that I am in. And that is what most people do. I am not saying that there are no bad Ghanaians out there, but it seems to be Nigerians who are making Africa become this highlighted toxicity that nobody wants to deal with. You have now been banned from Dubai, America, South Africa, and Ghanaians are now trying to get rid of you guys. You cannot go into somebody else's land and try to assert your dominance through arrogance. Just because you're the loudest in the room doesn't mean that you are right.
Now, she going on for a good minute, but I think we got it. I think we got it. Now, here's the thing. She can say that, and everybody understands. Everybody's all like, you know what, sister, you make a good point. Yeah, you make a good point, because the bad apples are really doing too much, and it's becoming a major problem. Nobody wants to deal with this. Now, when we say it, oh, it's a big issue, she not saying nothing different. Okay, she's sick of that behavior too. It's not the fact that you're an immigrant. It is your behavior as an immigrant. Okay, and there's a behavior that we have been tolerating up until this point that we will no longer tolerate. We're not going to tolerate that behavior anymore. Okay, and right now, if you check the temperature of everywhere else in the world, nobody else in the world wants to tolerate that type of behavior. You go to South Africa, they sick of it. They don't want to deal with it. You go to Ghana, they sick of it. They don't want to deal with it. You go to Mexico, they sick of it. They don't want to deal with it. Now, when it comes to America, we just got to turn the other cheek and deal with it. No. And mind you, they're fleeing to America primarily. So what Ghanaian people are dealing with, they coming over here, or they are at least trying to come over here primarily, and everybody is sick of it. Nobody want to deal with that. So unless we can be honest and adult enough to address the problem with people's behavior, it's not no CIA psyop, this not no government division. No. This is people acting a certain way that needs to stop, and people shouldn't have to be tolerant of bad, problematic behavior any longer. That does not make us hateful. That does not mean we are divisive. That does not mean we believe in our supremacy or anything like that. That doesn't mean we're white adjacent. No. Y'all not acting right. Point blank, period. You're not. Okay? And because you're not acting right, you got to go. We feel that way. South Africa feels that way. Ghana feels that way. Mexico feels that way. Everywhere you go, people feel that way. But you're not going to label us as, man, y'all just don't see the vision. Y'all don't see the vision. You from Ghana. Your people don't see the vision. Vic, your people from Ghana, and Ghana is saying the same thing we saying here. Your people in their homeland saying the same thing we saying in our homeland. The only one out of touch is Vic. But he gonna keep going on this FBA thing. He gonna keep going, or at least attempting to.
Don't want us to connect. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I find my greatest criticisms with FBA is not FBA as an idea of foundationally Black Americans. Like, I 100% believe, whatever you want to call it, that Black American people are obviously their own culture. You know what I'm saying? They are their own. I mean, they have their own cuisine, they have their own dialects, they're basically their own language, their own literature, their own contributions to science, technology, math, art, everything. You know what I'm saying? But was it Malcolm X that said, if a kitten gives birth in an oven, does it give birth to cookies? You know what I'm saying? Like,
was that Malcolm X or Beanie Siegel?
That would be funny if I mixed up Malcolm X and Beanie Siegel.
If you put cookies in the oven, did I make them biscuits?
Biscuits.
That's funny.
I do think I don't know. Maybe it was
early.
Both.
Yeah, combination.
Combination. Now, my big point though, man, is that like I just think that like the group online that is pushing an anti-African narrative is just misguided, and I feel like they're misguided by design, though. You know what I'm saying? In the same way that the Africans online that are pushing an anti-Black American narrative are misguided. They're misguided by design. Like I've had these conversations in Africa many times when African people will ask me, they say, Black Americans, why are they so aggressive? And you know what I mean? Why are they so angry? And why can't they figure out how to rise in society? Like Africans are often colored with so many negative stereotypes of Black Americans because the media has painted Black Americans in
a certain light.
You know what I mean? Intentionally derogatory light in order to keep them exploited. You know what I mean? And in order to make the world feel like, but I guess, yeah, my point being that it's just two different.
And I wanted to end on that point. Okay. Because that's another excuse that is used to save them from accountability. They say, well, you know, the media, they paint Black Americans in this certain light, and everybody gets brainwashed and conditioned into thinking Black Americans are aggressive and uneducated and all this and that. You would only have that talking point if the only problematic people we have are older, out-of-touch Africans who immigrate, okay? Direct continental Africans. But to be very honest with you, a lot of the major issues and the major problematic people were born and raised in America. So that whole narrative of, well, you got to understand it's the media, and the media they only have this type of channels to watch, and they only have these type of media. No. We're dealing with people who were born and raised here. Candace Owens, born and raised here. Brian Donalds, born and raised here. Okay. These people who grew up in America have the same access to media, Myron Gaines, all of that, the same access to media that we have, but carry and harbor the same amount of resentment and disdain and tribalism that their forefathers have. So it's not, oh no, it's just the media. They keep trying to do that to save face. Oh, it's just the media. You got to understand it's the media, and they just only have access to a certain view of you guys, and they don't understand. No, because if they came to America, with that being the case, if they came to America, they should change. You would think if they came to America, they'd be all like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. You know, I always thought this way of you guys. But then when I came here and I started interacting with you guys, I realized that you guys, that it was wrong. We've had more on-code immigrants 50 years ago. When you're talking about the Kwame Torres and all of that stuff, we have more on-code immigrants back then in the civil rights movement than we do now. And there was much less media access back then during the civil rights. But they didn't even have smartphones. There was no YouTube or no nothing like that back in the day. So you mean to tell me that y'all got brainwashed in the age of social media where y'all got smartphones and access to the internet, y'all got access to Twitter, and y'all got access to, come on, no, y'all got access to TikTok and Twitter and YouTube and all of this stuff? No. And y'all was more on code 2-3 generations ago? Really? No, that's not what it is. Don't lie, because you're lying, and that prevents you guys from actually taking accountability and correcting the behavior that needs to be corrected. All right? All of that, well, nobody's really to blame. No. Okay? There's a behavior. And it's not just us. We're saying, and the thing is that we don't just call out any problem. When we say problematic immigrants, we're talking about immigrants from across the globe. We're talking about that from Hispanic immigrants. We're talking about that from African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, Asian immigrants, European immigrants. We're talking about immigrants from across the globe. Okay? We're not discriminating. We're not singling anybody out. Now, what happens to be the case is because y'all are the same race we are, you guys have the opportunity and the ability to be problematic in a different way. Okay? So yeah, y'all might feel as if there's a little bit more attention put on you guys, but all in all, it's because y'all should know better. Yes, we will hold you to a higher standard. Yes, we will. Because if you guys are coming over here and they come over here all of the time talking about, well, when I get pulled over by the police, they don't know the difference. Well, if that's let's say that's the case. If that's the case, y'all should act better then. If they can't tell the difference between a FBA and a Jamaican, a FBA and a Ghanaian, a FBA and a Nigerian, then I'm going to hold you to a higher standard then. I am. Yes, yes, I am. I am going to hold you to a higher standard than I'm going to hold a Korean to, then I'm going to hold a European to, then I'm going to hold a Hispanic to. I'm going to hold you to a higher standard then. If that's the case, since y'all want to pretend that, the cops can't tell, yeah, y'all need to be held to a higher standard. Y'all need this belt to ass, and y'all been needing it. First off, everybody need it, okay? In the words of our ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clark, everybody need an ass whooping, okay? I'm paraphrasing. Everybody need an ass whooping, okay? But y'all, since y'all know better, y'all gonna get a little extra. That's all I'm saying. Y'all gonna get some more licks, okay? Because even though the Asians shouldn't be doing it, I don't approve, but I understand more. Even though the Hispanics shouldn't be doing it, I don't approve, but I'm not as disappointed. When the Caribbean's doing it, I don't approve, and I'm disappointed. It's just a disappointment when a Jamaican tethers. Okay, when they call us, when a Mexican calls us lazy, it's like, But when a Haitian does it, it's like, ooh, no, you should know better, man. No, you should know better. You see, that's why y'all getting a little bit more belt to ass than everybody else. Okay, y'all getting a little bit more belt to ass than everybody else because y'all know better. Okay, y'all know better. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Russian guy in a little bit. I'm gonna get him in a little bit, but this Nigerian, he gonna have to really get it, okay? Because he knows better than what he's doing, okay? So that's why y'all feel like, why y'all picking on the air? Because you know better, all right? Y'all know better. Y'all actually get first in line. How about that? How about y'all get first in line? That's what we gonna do, because y'all know better. Let me get to the Super Jets, because there's a couple more things I want to say. All right. I know it's late, but we in here. Okay. Josh is Brown. He says, never forget Vic Mensa was wearing a Confederate dress in one of his music videos. Can't take anything he says seriously. No, you can't. And when is the last time this man made an album? And that's the thing. A lot of them, they go from, because their careers don't really pop off, but they get a little bit of notoriety. So now they're political personalities. Y'all, do y'all know Dave Chappelle just did a comedy special on Netflix, right? He just did one. I don't know if it was New Year's or something like that, but he just did a comedy special on Netflix. Cat Williams, I don't know if it's out yet, but Cat Williams is about to do another comedy special on Netflix. When is the last time D.L. Hughley did a comedy special on Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, Disney Plus, anything, Amazon Prime, anything? When is the last time you've seen D.L. Hughley on a stage of anything? On doing any type of Netflix special, any type of comedy? Hold on. When is the last time you've seen D.L. Hughley in a movie? Let's say let's say stand up is over with. When is the last time you seen D.L. Hughley in a movie? Cat Williams still doing comedy specials. Dave Chappelle still doing comedy specials. But you don't see D.L. Hughes. I thought you was a comedian. Tell jokes, nigga. Tell jokes. Honestly, he was really not that funny to begin with, but he don't tell jokes no more. Now he's some type of political spokesman or something like that. Vic, when was your last album, dude? When was your last single? I'm gonna be honest, and you from Chicago, and that's why I'm disappointed. Come on, man, what are you doing? When are you gonna drop something? Instead of sitting up there grabbing oranges from a tree and talking about unity. When are you gonna drop some music? These people, and this is why they're doing this. These people are doing this because their careers, what they used to be, is over with. Their careers are over with. Ain't nobody trying to. When's the last time you seen Vic on tour? And I ain't even trying to beat you down, but I'm trying to say, come on, man, this ain't your lane. And you trying to tell us what we need to be doing. You need to be doing what you need to be doing, okay? Which is in that booth. Not on no stand, not at the Black Men's Summit from the BET Awards. Don't know, okay? You don't need to be doing that, no. They're sitting up there trying to tell us what we need to be doing. You focusing on ICE, you need to be focusing on a DJ. That's what you need to be doing. Don't think about ICE, think about a DJ. Okay? He's saying ICE out. How about DJ in? Okay? Come on. Talking about you shouldn't be deporting. No, man. Deportation, you don't need to be worried about no deportation, okay? You need to be importing yourself in the music booth. You need to be doing something like that. Y'all need to be focusing on your own lane. See, they sucked. I'm gonna call it what it is, y'all. They sucked at their own lane. And now they're trying to be political spokesmen and they messing up everything. That's why nobody's taking them serious. Come on, let's not do that. Oh, Cat Special was out. Oh, I didn't know it came out already. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't know it was out already. I know it was coming out. I saw the trailer for it. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't know it was out. All right. This is another thing about unity, right? I'm gonna share this because if you're gonna talk about unity, you're gonna have to address these people, these tethers over here. Let me show you this. I don't know if y'all have seen this lady. I'm not sure exactly what country she came from. All in all, it don't too much matter, but okay.
Gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest.
Oh, hold on. These people are the tools of white supremacy in the system.
Hold on.
Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest.
Oh, hold on. These people are the tools of white supremacy and the systems in place. Check this out.
Happy Black History Month to everyone except the foundational Black Americans. I hate you niggas. I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest. You know what time it is. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna blow up the spot. More like me. I'm doing society a favor. But yeah, everybody else, happy Black History Month.
So this is why I always say that the prerequisite for an immigrant to become a United States citizen is to be anti-Black American and side with the systems in place to undermine us. We don't have the same common enemy. I don't want to hear that no more. We don't. Their enemy is extreme third world poverty and extreme third world tribalism. That's their enemy. So when they come over here, their liberator is the systems in place that undermine us. This is why they get on code with the systems in place to undermine. So no, we don't have the same common enemy, right? This is why she can get online and say something so degenerate like this. And we got to take this serious because look at their homelands. They're actually doing the things that you're saying. Trump had to intervene in Nigeria. All throughout up and down the continent, they're doing this degeneracy and savagery over there. So I'm not going to take this lightly. We had a gentleman in ATL that tried to take a plane and do a 9/11 style bombing in ATL in a Black American community. I think he's from Kenya. It was you can look it up on the news. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show that right now.
A Kenyan man has been sentenced to life in prison in the United States.
He was plotting a 9/11 inspired attack on Atlanta, Georgia. His name is Cholo Abdi Abdullah. He's 34 years old. Abdullah had been training with Al-Shabaab. It is a terrorist organization and an Al-Qaeda affiliate based in Somalia. He spent around a year at multiple safe houses in Somalia where he worked with high-ranking Al-Shabaab terrorists. There, Abdullah received military-style training. He learned how to fire an AK-47 assault rifle and how to make different sized explosives.
So we gotta find out her name, where she at, where she worked, everything, and we gotta get up out of here. Ain't no way. She gotta get up out of here. She's talking about harming Americans. And I find it funny. They don't go after the systems in place that undermine their countries. That's who you should be going after. But you want to go against Black Americans that help liberate and make sure you could come here and flee your country and make a way. You want to come against the people that were open arms for the last 55 years. That's interesting to me. So this is really weird. One thing about us, we ain't never say we want to unalive or pew pew or bomb it. We don't do stuff like that. We are loving people. Now, we have our discrepancy where we respond to these, but we don't say that to generate things, right? So this is really weird, family. I'm not gonna lie to you. Find out where she worked, family. We on her heels right now. I need every Black American to be on here, find out where she worked with, everything, and she's gonna lose her job, and we're gonna get up. So I love y'all. Y'all be safe out here, family.
All right, you see that? Y'all see it? You see that? Now, when we say something, then it's all divisive and y'all a hate group. It's not that bad. No. And this type of behavior is the same thing that woman was talking about earlier. About, man, y'all bad apples. I mean, they say, well, it's not the majority. It's not the majority. Y'all bad apples do a lot. It don't take the majority, but if one of y'all was trying to create another 9/11, no, that's a big deal. Y'all bad apples do the utmost, and they do it, and the majority is really complicit with it. The majority is silent, conveniently silent. The majority doesn't call it out. The majority sees it, and they say, I see no evil, hear no evil. I don't know nothing about it. I'm a stand back. I'm a mind my business. The majority doesn't call it out. The majority doesn't rock the boat, because if the majority did, their homelands would be better. If the majority did, they would need to flee. They flee because the problematic element, and everybody has it, even us. Everybody has problematic people in their lineage. That goes without saying. Okay, nobody's acting like you need to be perfect. We're not saying that we're perfect. Okay, but there needs to be some type of force that regulates that controls that puts a cap and a barrier to the damage that they can do. And in our lineage, there's always been people that said, hey, all of this cooning and shucking and jiving, we need to have people who regulate that. Culturally speaking, we've always regulated that. We've always ostracized that. We've always called that out, and that mitigated whatever damage that they could have caused. When we saw you doing some off-code stuff, we would call it out, because that therefore mitigates and it lessens whatever damage that you can cause. They don't do that. When we see a little Frankenstein baby, I'm gonna say it like, I'm gonna simplify it so much right now. When we see a little baby monster, we make sure that baby monster doesn't become an adult. Okay? When you see a little baby, when you go to the zoo and you see a baby lion, a cub, the baby lion's all cute and stuff like that, but you can pick the baby lion up and you can feed the baby lion the milk. But then let's say a few years later, now the lion is big, not full grown, but the lion is kind of big now. The lion's not no cute little cub you can put in the car seat. No, the lion is big. The lion is big enough to, if it take a bite out of you, it could take some meat off. Okay? We need to be like, oh, no. No, we don't need that lion to get no bigger than what it is. We're going to have to deal with this problem. This problem is big enough. Okay, if this line get any bigger than what it is, this line is gonna cause some major issues. Y'all wait till the line is full grown, got a whole facial hair thing, that the line got a few kids, and the line is some huge giant beast that can't be stopped. And that line is roaming around, eating everybody up. That's not our problem. We don't let the lion get that big. We say once the lion starts showing some teeth and eating raw steak, I'm sorry, little Simba, you got nothing. Sorry, you was cute, but nah, we don't have now. We don't need to become your breakfast. We cool with that. Now you had your time, but you a little bit too big now, and we stop the problem before it gets that big. Y'all don't do that. That's what y'all don't do, okay? And because y'all don't do that, y'all got a whole bunch of lions around just causing chaos and catastrophe and damage, which is why y'all flee. Because y'all don't stop the problem, y'all don't stop the beast before it gets that big. No. If y'all could develop the culture that we have, since y'all want to cosplay everything, cosplay this, cosplay how on code we are, cosplay that part, cosplay how we deal with problems before problems create this large catastrophe, cosplay that part. How about that? And y'all would realize that y'all would become culturally stronger. Your homelands will become culturally stronger. You guys will be able to fix problems. You guys will be able to flourish and live and build and all of that stuff. But look, y'all don't call it out. That's y'all problem. Now, since y'all don't want to call it out, that don't mean we got to deal with it. That's the thing. We're not going to deal with your problem just because you don't want to call it out. Okay? Just because you don't want to call out this grown lion don't mean we ain't going to call it out. Okay? When we see the lion, we dealing with the lion. Y'all don't want to deal with the lion. Y'all want to act like this big, how much lions weigh? 500 something, 600-pound lion is not just roaming around. We not going to act like that. When we see a lion, when we hear a roar, no, that's a lion. We got to deal with this lion. Okay? No, we gonna deal with this lion. Y'all be acting like y'all don't see nothing. Y'all can't deal with nothing. Y'all can't call nothing out. And then when we deal with the lion, we the bad guy. No, no. That's what y'all need to learn. Y'all need to learn how to call y'all people out. And because y'all don't want to do it, we gonna do it. Okay? But don't say nothing about when we do it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's a shoot, I don't know how heavy lions get, but lions get kind of big and heavy and super, super strong, right? We may not use no tranquilizing gun. We might not have a PG solution to the lion. I'm just letting you know that right now. Our solution to the lion, we might not, you know how they be doing in the little cartoons, they just throw a little net over the lion and the lion get caught. Oh no, it's a net. Nah, we got some. We got some more things than the net. We might not, 500 pounds. Yeah, that's a big lion. That's a very big lion. Lions are fast, ferocious, strong, heavy. Nah, we might not use a little kitty net. Don't be saying that. Why'd y'all have to do that to the lion? Hey, well, look, y'all could have put it down nicely, but y'all didn't want to do it, so we had to do it. Don't criticize how we put the lion down. Y'all let the lion get this big. That's all I'm saying. We might use tranquilizer. We might use a more aggressive approach. You know, it could be. They can get up to a 10. What? They can get up to 1,000 pounds. Oh my God. Yeah, You see, y'all letting that lion. See, when the lion, first off, 1,000 pounds is wow. That's crazy. When the lion get up to heavier than me, when the lion get up heavier, when the lion starts reaching my weight, that's a problem. Okay. When you can pick a lion up with your own hand and all that stuff, and you can carry it around like a little baby, okay. When the lion start getting too big to pick up with one hand, the lion is already an issue. The lion need to be put down. The lion is already too big. If I can't pick this lion up like a little baby, the lion is too big. Okay, the lion get heavier than me. The lion is way too big. The lion get to 1,000 pounds. Lord, what was you doing? Okay, now this is the king of the jungle. Now he is the king of the jungle. Now you can't tell him nothing now. What you gonna tell him? He 1,000 pounds. What you gonna tell him? No. See, that's what happens when you don't handle your business. You call us xenophobic. You call us hateful. Y'all got people walking around saying that they are going to strap explosives to them and go take other people out. That's not no CIA stuff. That's not no PSYOP. That's not the government causing division. That's how y'all really be. That's how y'all really be. Y'all really be on that. Y'all really be on that kamikaze type of stuff. And y'all don't want to call that out. Y'all don't want to say, hey man, and she looked young too. That was a young girl. I don't know how you look young. Y'all be having kids, them they're strapping up explosives to themselves to go. They hate people so bad, they're willing to take their own life away to get at other people. And y'all don't want to call that out. So no, now if y'all got that much going on, we don't need y'all over here. We got enough going on. No. We don't need no little kamikaze kids over here. No, we cool. Okay, this is why Ghana was kicking y'all out. This is why South Africa kicking y'all out. They don't need no explosive ass kids. No, who want that? You ain't gonna tell me we got to deal with the suicide kids, the explosive kamikaze kids under the guise of Pan-Africanism. To hell with that. Nobody want no kids blowing up because they don't like you. They don't like your tribe. They think that their tribe is better than yours, so they gonna blow you and everybody else up. And we not exaggerating because it's stuff that actually does happen. It's stuff that really does happen. And y'all want to come over here and talk to us about some Pan-Africanism, to us about some hateful. Man, y'all got way too many other people y'all need to be talking about. Y'all got way too much y'all need to be discussing before y'all ever come over here and talk to us about anything. Let me get to the super chats. Hold on. Eve, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your super sticker. Thank you. And then Regina says, dude looked like Birdson. He looked like Birdson, the crack-headed version. You ain't lying. He really do. He ain't lying. He really do. Backup Trick says, we need to report her to Homeland Security. She's threatening harm. FBA's 24/7, 365. We do. And there's already been a whole bunch of lives. Now, y'all know TikTok suspended me, so I can't join no lives or anything like that on TikTok because of the suspension. But there's been a whole bunch of lives on TikTok about her today, just alone today, about finding out where she works, finding out who she, stays, all of that stuff, where she stays, all of that, so she can be dealt with by the authorities. Because she can say that on the internet, and then next thing you know, we'll find out she works at some type of daycare center taking care of FBA babies. Watch find out when people find out more information about her. Watch she's been working around a daycare center, or she was some substitute teacher, or she was some CNA dealing with the elderly, or she was some nurse, or she was something like that dealing with our people. She was operating our food. That's another very important, dangerous thing she could be doing. She's operating our food. You don't know what she's doing to our food. Yeah, she got to be dealt with. She needs to be dealt with. And if she said that to any other community, they would say that that's a hate crime, and they would be investigating her. If she would have said that to the small hat community, she would be fired immediately. Her job would put out an apology statement. She wouldn't be able to work nowhere. If she would have said that to the LGBT community, oh, I don't like them F words, I want them all to, I'm a blow. If she would have said that to them, her job would have fired her immediately. They would apologize. They would have said they don't agree with nothing she said. Y'all know that. If she would have said that about any other community, y'all already know what the process would have been. The fact that she's saying that about our community, now we got to be the private investigators digging and finding her background and finding out where she works and finding out all of this stuff to protect ourselves. We got to be our own police and defense force. Man, come on. Come on with that. She would, y'all know it. Y'all know it. If she would have said that about anybody else, okay? And she ain't the only, they'll say that. They'll say stuff like that. So no, she gotta go. Okay? Because I'll be damned. They'll turn around. Now you got a little 5-year-old kid who's abused at a daycare. You don't know what she's doing. Okay? You don't know what she's doing. No, she got to be dealt with. Because she could, with that type of mentality, she will really kill somebody. She's not joking. This was not no, I'm just playing. No, she's not joking. She will really kill somebody if given the opportunity. At the very least, she will harm somebody really bad. No, I'm not waiting for nobody to get the opportunity to do that. I'm not waiting on that. We can't rely on her doing it. We can't rely on that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. She is not playing. These people do not play about stuff like that. And neither should we. Because we've already dealt with, when I'm telling you people trying to mass harm us, we've already dealt with people doing that. We already got enough people running up into places with black folk and gunning us down. We already got enough people trying to do that. Okay? We already dealt with the Dylan Roofs and the Ryan Palmetters and the Peyton Gendrons. We've already dealt with that. We can't even feel safe going into a church. We can't even feel safe going into a grocery store. We don't need nobody who's also black, who look like us, who can come into our, we don't need no more of that. Okay? We need to take any and every single threat, especially like that, very seriously. Everything's a game until somebody's dead. No, absolutely not. Everything's, oh, y'all exaggerating, y'all taking it too serious. You ain't gonna do nothing. Do y'all know Dylan Roof was 18? He was 18. And all of the rest of them, they were 17 and 18 years old. All of these people, they just became legal adults. I think the fat one, I think he was only 17 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. He was only 17. So no, all of that, all the, kids, they just play. No, I don't play like that. I don't play like that. Nobody else does. Okay. The small hat community, they don't play like that. They will make you do a whole apology tour in a split second for saying something that they don't agree with. Okay. So no, we don't play like that. Let me give a shout out to the Cash Apps as well. I appreciate you. Shout out to Mike. I appreciate you, Mike. Shout out to Caroline. Line is blessed in KZI. Thank you very much. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. We here late. We here late, but we in here. Now, my whole thing is this. Hold on. And then let me get y'all. Is Vic Mensa or that other lady, are they going to call out her behavior? Are they going to call out that behavior? No. They're not going to call them out. They're untouchable. They don't get touched. They don't get criticized. It's only when it comes to us do we get, you guys know it's this manipulation. No, it's not that. You think she feels this way because of the government? No, she don't feel that way because of the government. Strapping up explosives to herself. No, she don't. And even if she did, that's not our responsibility. We shouldn't have to deal with, because of the government, they behave that way. So what? So yeah, we gonna put belt to ass because y'all not gonna do it. Y'all not gonna do it. And they know better. They all know better. So don't call us hateful. Because even though I got a bunch of criticism for them, even though we, as a collective, we putting belt to ass and we making sure they put respect on our lineage, we still not out here advocating, condoning, planning, or wishing any mass harm on anybody. You would never, ever, as long as I live, you would never hear me say anything remotely close to what she just said to anybody. You would never hear me say anything like that. You would never, I would be appalled if I heard any one of you all in this chat room, and I've known y'all for years. I would be appalled if I heard any one of y'all say anything like that to anybody about anybody. You've never heard us remotely condone anything like that happening, justify anything like that happening. You've never heard us do anything slightly like that. So no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And this lets you know who's always been on the side of justice. Because even though we being harsh on y'all, we still being the good guys. We can still be harsh, okay, with the core of justice. You understand? We can still be harsh and still keep and maintain our morality. We don't lose our morality, even when we gotta rough people up a little bit. Even when we got to make sure people get straightened and done, even though we got to put belt to ass and straighten folks out a little bit, we still maintain our morality. They don't. When they dislike somebody, morality is out the window. It's gone. It don't exist no more. We've been the only people really in the world who've been able to dislike somebody and still keep civility, humanity, and morality. Nobody else has been able to do it. Everybody else, if they don't like nobody, morality out the window. They will do the most ungodly, inhumane, unscrupulous thing to get at somebody. We have been historically the only people who have not crossed the line of inhumane, immoral behavior. We're the only ones who do that. So I don't want to hear nothing about us being hateful. I don't want to hear nothing about us being no cold and no divisive and no this, no that, no nothing. Because we still have more morality than everybody else does. We still have more humanity than everybody else. So I'm not trying to hear it. Let me get to the rest of these super chats real quick. Okay. Shout out to that's true. That's very true. FBA Paris says this is why we need an anti-FBA hate crime bill. That's true. We do. We need that. Okay. Yvette sends a super sticker. Thank you very much, Yvette. I appreciate you. And then FBA Justice says Florida's new immigration law is going to hit like a hammer on an anvil. I got to check that out. Our haters are in more trouble. That's true. Because Florida really don't be playing with them immigrants like that. You know, that's DeSantis and them. They already don't be playing with them. And we ain't going to be out there fighting for it either. Y'all, we late. Started off a little bit late. A lot of bit late. But, you know, we still in here. We still in here, and I appreciate y'all. Like I said, we might show up late, but we always going to show up. It may be late, but we going to be here. Every time. All the time. Okay? Don't show people that clip. And we do got to find that woman's name out. Show people that when they talk about the virtues of Pan-Africanism and the standards of Pan-Africanism. As we conclude tonight, and I want you to understand, even though we're focusing on our lineage, we're still doing so with a sense of morality. We're still doing so with a sense of dignity and humanity and godliness that other people don't have. Other people are not having that. Everybody else, when they want to do what's in the best interest of their community or what's in the best interest of their group, they're sabotaging other people. I want us to really home in on the fact that we have been able to do what's in our best interest without undermining, without sabotaging, without trying to step over people. Everybody else has taken shortcuts. They've tried to undermine. They've tried to step over people. They've cheated. They've stolen. They've robbed. They've killed. They've done all of this stuff. We're the only people whose self-empowerment does not rely on the subjugation and the degradation of other people. We're the only people we're the only people who have not really had the crabs in a bucket thing, where we don't want the failure of everybody else. We don't need to step on you and to sabotage you and to burn your community, to flood your community, to steal from you. We don't need to do that to empower ourselves. We don't need to send explosives on your community. We don't need to do that. Okay? So all of y'all talk about delineation. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about delineation being divisive? Our ancestors wouldn't have liked it, man. Our ancestors would have loved it. Because the same core of morality and humanity and dignity that they've had, we have. Okay? We are not doing anything indignant. We're not doing anything inhumane. We're not doing anything ungodly. Okay? We have not crossed, and that's something in our culture. We will not cross this line of immorality that everybody else is willing to cross. We won't do it, and that's what makes us the best. Is because there's a line of humanity that we refuse not to cross. We refuse to cross that line. We refuse to develop these inhumane practices in cultures to win. We don't have to do that. Everybody else does. That's why the world looks up to us. That's why everybody wants to be like that. I mean, we get it. We got cool music. We got cool culture. We fly and everything like that. But there's a certain godliness in a culture that does not have to cross the line of civility, dignity, morality, and humanity that nobody else can say that they have. Nobody else can say they have that. And we've done it and won with it. Normally, if you keep that morality, normally they say the good guys lose. No, not us. No. We're the good guys who've been able to stay the good guys and not cross that line and still win. Everybody else has been cheating, lying, scamming, robbing, and been losing. And we're the people who have not been cheating. We've been giving. Instead of stealing, we've been giving away. Okay? Instead of robbing, we've been helping. Okay? We've been saving everybody. We've been people's saviors, and we've still been winning. So no, all of that stuff about when is this going to stop? It's not going to stop. No. Okay? Y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all not in tune with what we're about. Okay? Everything else needs to fall in line. Okay, because we're the only people who've got the morality to save the world the way it needs to be. God knows what would happen to the planet Earth if we weren't here. I don't even think there'd be new. If y'all would have seen it, look, if we weren't here, the world would be gone. Honestly, they would have been nuked each other to death. There would be no civilization. There'd be no sustainable life forms or anything like that. The world would be full of cockroaches. That's it. And I'm only saying that because cockroaches can actually survive radiation from a nuke and all that. The world would be crawling with a bunch of damn cockroaches. Okay? No. So y'all should thank us. But that will conclude tonight. I appreciate you, family. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. He says, yes, we're getting, yes, we get where we are. We're not harming the diaspora. We're not harming them. We're not harming them. No, we're not. No, we're not. And that's a line that we won't cross because we don't have to. Okay? Our ancestors didn't have to. We won't have to. We don't have to. Okay, that line of morality we never have to cross. Okay, that's the privilege of being FBA, is because you come from a culture that doesn't cross that line. And you can say that. You can say that with your chest out. You can say that with pride and conviction that you come from a culture that doesn't cross that inhumane, evil, demonic line that everybody else crosses. Okay, so yeah. That's the benefit of it. That's the benefit. All of that hateful stuff is over with. Family, if y'all can do me a solid though, if y'all can hit that like button, y'all can hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell. I would greatly appreciate that. I would greatly appreciate you all for doing that. Thank you all so very much. I greatly appreciate every single thing that you do, family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. One time for the one time. Let me hit this. People in here at night, and I didn't do a lot of promotion or nothing like that for this, but we was in here deep, so I appreciate you guys for that. So thank you guys very much. Okay, the channel's doing really good. Shout out to you all for it. Thank you guys. Okay, that will conclude tonight's live stream. As always, Black first to every single last one of my brothers and my sisters. I will see you guys later. Y'all take care and y'all stay blessed.